I want to talk about the biggest and the most important story in the world, the Wuhan coronavirus. This coronavirus is a catastrophe on the scale of Chernobyl for China, but actually it's probably worse than Chernobyl, which was localized in its effect. The coronavirus could result in a global pandemic. While you were all sleeping overnight, the number of diagnosed cases in China increased by 30%. Now, let me be clear, that's not new cases, that is just newly admitted cases. It is probably several orders of magnitude higher than that. Also, while you were sleeping, China now has its entire border with Russia closed. 2,600 miles, Russia has closed that border. El Al has shut down travel between Israel and China. Air France has shut down travel between China and France. And that's in addition to all the other countries that have already shut down travel. From what we know so far, and there's still many unknowns, this virus could have both a long incubation period, as much as 14 days, and individuals could be contagious while asymptomatic, which was not the case with SARS in 2003. Furthermore, from some cases, it appears that the virus could be aerosolized, which means it doesn't require the kind of contact that you have with, say, a married couple kissing each other or a family living in close quarters in a hotel or apartment, but rather the distances we are all sitting apart right now. Yet China is still lying about all of this. They've been lying about it from the very beginning, and you don't need their history of lying about SARS in 2003, though it is relevant here. You just have to see what's happened over the last 2 months. We now know that the first case manifested no later than December 1, even though China didn't reveal it to the WHO until a month later on December 31st, when they continued to hide it from their own citizens. And they continued to say that it had been contained inside Wuhan. Today, it is in every single province in China.
现在绍兴东站所有外地人都不让出，要原路返回。我们都3个都要回到吉林去，没法让他们出来，说情也没用。
The breaking news about the coronavirus and the report of the first American to die from the illness. This comes as a cruise ship passenger diagnosed with the virus is speaking out about her ordeal. ABC's Will Carr is in Santa Monica with the latest. Good morning, Will.
And Eva, there's still a lot that experts don't understand about this virus, but we're seeing that it can spread quickly in confined spaces like that cruise ship. We're also seeing the death toll jump every single day. This morning, more than 700 people have died from the coronavirus, including the first American. This morning, the first American has died from the coronavirus since the outbreak began. The U.S. Embassy confirms the 60-year-old victim was being treated at a hospital in Wuhan, China. Also this morning, for the first time, we're hearing from an American infected with the virus. Rebecca Frazier tells ABC News that she's among at least a dozen others who have contracted coronavirus on board this cruise ship off the coast of Japan. The ship remains quarantined.
The only thing that I was told yesterday when I found out I was quote-unquote diagnosed was that the hospital stay would end up being 14 days instead of the initial 3. That's very concerning to me.
So far, her husband has tested negative.
I'm concerned because my husband is still on the ship, and what is he supposed to do if he's released and I'm not?
Overnight, another flight evacuating from the hot zone, carrying Americans from Wuhan, arriving in the U.S., this time at a military base in Nebraska. All 57 passengers will now be quarantined for at least 2 weeks. This is some evacuees have been split from their families. Frank Wachinski and his 3-year-old daughter are quarantined in California. Frank's wife was forced to stay behind in China because she's not a U.S. citizen. He just found out she's become infected with coronavirus.
She had a fever. She had chest x-rays, which show, fluid building up. She's having problems breathing, keeping food down.
With that latest flight coming back to the United States, there are now more than 1,000 Americans who are quarantined on military bases all across the country.
Incredible what they're going through. Will Carr for us. Thank you. We do want to bring in ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton joining us from Massachusetts this morning. Dr. Ashton, you've been following all of this very closely. First, I know you've also been speaking with officials at the National Institutes of Health, and I understand you're learning more about the numbers being reported here.
Exactly. And it's really important when we hear these numbers. We have to pay attention to the numbers in China and then distinguish that from the numbers here in the U.S. The concern about the numbers in China is that not all people who may be infected or even sick with this novel coronavirus may be able to be tested.
In the deadly coronavirus outbreak, the U.S. Embassy in Beijing confirmed overnight that the first American has died from the virus at the epicenter in the Chinese city of Wuhan. The outbreak is responsible for more than 720 deaths. All but 2 have occurred in mainland China. More than 34,000 people have been infected with the virus worldwide, including at least 12 confirmed cases of the virus right here in the United States. Michael George is here with more details on the latest death. Michael, good morning.
Well, good morning. The embassy offered very few details on the American who died, but we do know they were 60 years old and that they died on Wednesday in a hospital in Wuhan. The death occurred as hundreds of American evacuees prepared for their return to the U.S. Roughly 300 American evacuees arrived at military bases around the U.S., all of them coming from Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak.
Certainly, it's concerning.
Dr. Henry Walk of the CDC leads the coronavirus response team at Travis Air Force Base in California, where more than 200 passengers are under quarantine. Walk says 5 of the evacuees displayed symptoms and were hospitalized.
Fever or shortness of breath, along with any cough, for example.
Other flights loaded with evacuees landed in Omaha, Nebraska and San Antonio, Texas, where health officials wearing hazmat suits escorted passengers off planes to start a 14-day quarantine.
I am happy to report that we did not find any evidence of illness among the passengers who landed here today.
The largest single group of confirmed infections outside China exists in Japan on the Diamond Princess cruise ship.
You can see that this is tiny house living.
At least 3,400 passengers and crew are currently on board. The ship has been docked in Yokohama since Wednesday. More than 60 passengers, including at least 11 Americans, tested positive for the virus.
We take our temperature a minimum of 3 times a day.
And in China, nearly 60 million people are still on some kind of partial or total public transportation lockdown to try to contain the virus. New research suggests the pangolin, an endangered mammal whose scales are highly valued in Chinese medicine, may have passed the virus to humans. And U.S.-based cruise lines are taking their own precautions. Royal Caribbean International and Norwegian cruise lines issued bans for any guest holding a Chinese, Hong Kong, or Macau passport, regardless of residency. Jeff?
All right, Michael, thank you very much.
Good afternoon. A Belen teacher who went to China to teach English is now trapped there. She's in the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. Getting home is proving impossible. News 13's Rebecca Atkins spoke with her today over Skype.
I was looking for a new adventure.
Coming to China for a year to teach kids English was exactly what Sheila Armijo thought she needed.
This country is beautiful. It is a beautiful country and the people are kind.
When she arrived in December, everything was going well, minus a little culture shock.
To do all of this on my own and not speak the language of the people around me has just been so hard.
But then the coronavirus broke out in Wuhan, not far from where Armijo is living in Chongqing. So far, the respiratory illness has killed 600 people.
When the government said nobody goes anywhere, all the roads are closed, everything just came to a halt.
Armijo says she's only been able to leave her apartment twice since the city was put on lockdown and is trying to keep busy.
I've been downloading books, journaling, a lot of tears, just talking to people from back home.
She says the only places open are supermarkets.
When you enter the supermarket, they actually take your temperature. And I saw them turn a couple of people away just because I guess their temperature didn't read correctly.
The teacher from Belen says the situation has not only been hard on her, but for her family back home.
They're going absolutely nuts. And actually, I've made the decision to try to get home, and they make it sound like it's an easy process, and it's not an easy process.
While she works through the red tape, she'll be cutting her teaching plans short, and coming back to China is a distant thought.
If I go home, it's going to be real hard stepping back on that plane to come back.
Rebecca Atkins, KRQE, News 13.
Armijo says she's been working with the embassy to try to get home, but she doesn't have her passport. She had to send it in when she applied for her visa. She now plans to reach out to our congressional delegation for help. Now, another challenge is booking a flight. Many airports are not open, and those that are open only accept payment from people who have a bank account in China, which she does not.